Everybody wants to be an eBay reseller. eBay is one of the biggest platforms, but I highly suggest being on more than one. I do not highly suggest cross listing at all. It's an absolute big no no. Don't let anybody talk you into that. Remember, everything you pay out counts against your profit. So if you pay a cross listing service that doesn't always work well, um, and can get you terminated from these platforms because you're canceling ads because you sold them somewhere else, that's minus your profit. Um, the fees you pay to the different platforms to use them, remember it's a service, or you should go out and do it yourself, standing on the street corner with a table and hoping that you have a city permit and all that good stuff to do it, or hanging out at the flea market all day long in the heat or the cold and paying their fees, um, and putting up with a bunch of bozos that go, okay, so can I get this $50 thing for $2 I'll give you? No, it's not eBay auctions, I'm sorry. um, it's eBay's, good. It's not as good as it was back in the early 2000s, where you could sell a used paperclip for $100. It was insane, the stuff that sold on eBay years ago. There's a lot more sellers. There's a lot more people shopping on there. Uh, if you were ever banned or whatever from buying on there, uh, you can go buy on there without being a member of eBay now. But a lot of people, moved to other platforms to buy because eBay was so problematic and there was so much junk being sold. There's not as much junk being sold today because eBay is really strict. But there are a few scammers, sadly enough, and it gets interesting. But anyway, a lot of people are quitting work and going online. Since the pandemic, a lot of people went online. During the pandemic, the internet was banging because everybody's stuck in the house. And that was really the time to be selling whatever you could sell. But anyway, should you become an eBay seller? Yeah, I would say so. I think it's great. Uh, I wish that all my kids would be doing it. You can make some very, very good money on eBay. Um, uh, and how do you start? That's the biggest question. I get people go, "Will you teach me?" Or "I'll have you teach me this." Well, my time is money. I work 7 days and nights a week, and you know, you want to have me teach you? I do have a private instruction fee. Otherwise, you can go on my YouTube and check it out. And other sellers' YouTubes. One that I um, really like and is very honest and down to earth is Dixon's Pickens on YouTube. There's a lot of other YouTubers, but they're mostly there just to try to make that YouTube money. And uh, some of them are like 2 penny sellers. Don't get into selling some junk that's going to make you $1 or $5 unless you have thousands of them and they're going to just sell like hotcakes, and you can just sit and play with that all day long. One, it's entirely too much time packing all that junk. If you base it on an hourly wage, if you sell, 10 of those 2 penny items, now you've got to sit and pack and print out receipts and shipping labels and drop that stuff off at the post office. There's gas and time. All this stuff takes time. So if you can try to get something that's going to benefit you by $20 or $30 an item and up, then that's where it's at. So if you sell 4 items that you're going to make 20 out of, then it's only 4 items you have to pack up and ship out. eBay, if you don't have good discipline, don't even bother. Because the biggest thing about eBay is getting that stuff shipped out. You have up to 3 days to get that stuff gone. The faster you ship, the higher the ratings you get through eBay itself before the buyer even rates you, or if they rate you. I tend to get orders because I ship like within hours. Um, and the longest I waited to ship is probably a day. But usually, if I'm near my stock or my office, I just run over there and ship it out. Um, Make sure your stuff smells good. It doesn't smell like smoke or your weed or whatever it is that you do, and doesn't have cat and dog hair all over it and all that. A lot of eBay resellers are putting stuff in storage complexes so they don't overload their house. I wish I'd have thought about that years ago with a lot of my retail stock. I had really big houses and that, and I would always have, a room. And then I had this one house that was just like taken over with all that stuff. It was everywhere. But I mean, I was making huge money. Sell, 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 sell. But still, it's nice to have, a home that's like a home. So it's a big thing nowadays for, people that sell on the internet, on eBay, Etsy, whatever, to, get a storage unit and kind of run the business out of that. So it doesn't bog up their home. That's a tax write-off too. Um, you know, it's part of your business. Uh, and instead of having a brick and mortar retail store with the theft and all the problems and crappy customers, sometimes you don't have to deal with all that. All you're really doing is just like listing and selling, listing and selling. Um, Answering messages from customers and stuff. A lot of them I won't even answer, and they say, "Oh, you've got to answer everyone." I don't, because I get some really stupid stuff. I get stuff like, "Oh, well, I'm homeless and I've got this job as a stripper, and I just need shoes. That's all I need." And those $120 shoes with the rhinestones and glitter and all the stuff on them, can you just like sell them to me for $5 and free shipping? You know, and it'll be a big long letter with all this drama in it. I'm like, and so I just don't even fool with that. I get, I got a message recently from a guy that goes, "Well, your shipping's a little high, so I have FedEx, and so if you want to ship it on my FedEx, and then give it to me for about $10 cheaper on top of that, price that you're listing it for, then I would very much like to buy it." And it's like, one, that's against eBay policy. That sounds like you're selling it outside of eBay. You're avoiding eBay fees by because they take the fees off the shipping and the sale. And that's a story from way back in the early 2000s when people would list something for $2, and so it would come up as the cheapest one listed. So it'd be at the top of the list because people usually look at the first four and they buy from one of those. They're not going to read every single ad, and they just click it and go buy it. And then what happens is they don't notice the shipping, and they've got a shipping of $30, $40, $50 or $100, literally. And so next thing you know, they have just bought something for $100 and something that they thought was like $2. And it was just scammy, and eBay would do nothing, and it was overcharging and shipping. Shipping is shipping and handling. That's your legal term for how you're shipping, because you have to bear in mind it takes tape, permanent markers, paper, plastic bags, padding, boxes, whatever. However you get your stuff, whether you buy it, pull it out of the dumpster, take it home from work, use boxes or whatever, and use padding. I remember years ago I used to go to a furniture store, and they had all kinds of used padding, and they said, "Look, if we're not open, you're welcome to take it out of the dumpster. We'll put it, or next to the dumpster, we'll put it out for you." And I'm like, "Really?" And I would go down and fill up my whole car or take a truck down there, whatever, and fill it up. And then I had all that stuff, and I didn't even have to buy it. And it was totally clean. No food on it, nothing. It came off of really nice furniture, and it's fabulous. Even at rent furniture places. They get a lot of that stuff. And if you ask them nicely in the store, they'll say, "Here, we got a bunch in the back. You want it? Take it. We'll even, send one of our employees to help you load it in your car." Or, hey, you're welcome to go look in the trash, or we put it in a certain place. A lot of stores today are recycling, especially like Walmart. They recycle most everything: metals, plastics, cardboards, everything. So it's really hard to get stuff from them anymore. When you used to be able to go to the layaway department when they had that and say, hey, could I have some boxes I'm moving? And they would just give them to you. Really hard to get them. Dollar Tree, they recycle all their boxes in their plastic. It's real hard to get stuff from them. Unless you know somebody that works there. Um, uh, but even Dollar Generals, all that stuff is put in big chrome carts, and then the tractors come pick it up, and it goes to the recycler. And so it's kind of hard to get a lot of stuff. Cell phone stores, internet cable companies have some really great boxes. Um, but ask them first. Just go in the store and talk to a manager and say, hey, um, I need some little boxes and stuff, and is it okay? Can I have some? And they'll say, yeah, sure. Here, I got a whole bunch right here in the corner. You can have these, and you can go look in our dumpster anytime. Just ask them first. Um, I was going to a $5 store, and I asked the manager like 4 years ago, when I was doing a lot of Etsy. I said, is it okay if I get some boxes? Plus, when I was moving, I needed a lot of boxes. And so I asked the manager. She's an older lady, real nice. And she's like, sure, take all you want. I wish you would, because our dumpster gets too full and we can't put anything in it. You're doing us a favor. I'm like, gosh, great. And so, a couple of times I went up there, it was real strange. There was one employee there that would give me like the eye. They'd come out back to smoke a cigarette, and they would be like giving me the eye when I would very carefully go through their dumpster, not throw anything on the ground, don't trash the place up when you do that stuff. Just get your stuff that you need and go. Um, the thing they don't like is if you throw stuff all over the ground. Just be nice about it. They put it in that dumpster, that's where it needs to go. So don't trash up the outside of their dumpster, making more work for them. But I had a security guy came up to me, and he's like, so what are you doing? And I said, I had my trunk open and I was, quickly grabbing boxes and pushing them together. And then, so I could fit them in the car, and like nesting the boxes, the large to the small, and loading them in the car bit by bit. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm getting some boxes. And he says, so uh, why are you doing that? I said, well, uh, I need boxes. I'm moving and stuff like that. And he's like, well, why don't you just go to UPS and buy some? And I was like, do what? I mean, I wasn't bothering anybody. So then I talked to the marine supply store over there, the lady that owns it, her and her husband. And I said, is it okay if I, get some boxes out of your dumpster? She says, we would love you to do that, because we don't have enough room in our little dumpster. And I said, really? I said, because, I had this problem over at this other store that I've always got boxes from with no problem. And she said, man, we thank God for you getting the boxes. That's going green. That's recycling, and it helps us out a great deal. And she says, I don't know why anybody would, get upset about that and be rude to you, especially the mall security. And so, you just need to talk to a manager, or if you're friends with somebody who works at a retail store where they get shipments in and they unbox stuff and they have pretty good boxes, make a deal with them, and it will save you a ton of money. Otherwise, you can order some online and get a really good discount, like from Uline and stuff, or buy them at Walmart. But it gets pricey, because that's going to take away from your sale. But a lot of this stuff can be acquired just, you know, from other retailers. You get a lot of it free. And then, like your permanent markers and stuff you can get at the Dollar Tree, or Walmart. But all that stuff costs money. Tape, that clear tape, printer ink, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time if you have a way to print labels on your printer. When you start making real money, you can buy a real label printer. They're a little pricey now. And then order their special labels and stuff that fit for those. I don't use a label printer. I just use a printer. Some people like to use their phone, and they can load the postage up for each item on their phone and then go to the post office and let them scan each one. I don't have time to wait in line and play that game. I want to ship now. I want to ship like 24 hours. If I get an order packed up, post office is closed, trust me, I'm going to the post office and I'm dumping that sucker. Because they're usually there about 4 in the morning sorting packages so they can go out, And I want mine to be rolling, okay? Not after the truck's already come picked them up to move them to another state. I want them ready. So, those are things that you've got to bear in mind. Shipping fast. You got 3 days. If you don't ship your products out on time, eBay will kill your account. They're real strict now. So if you have the discipline and you're able to get that stuff shipped out, before the 3 day, then you're going to be looking good. If you're not responsible, don't bother. And of course, if you want to sell something, you've got to get it shipped. That's the whole idea. When I order something online, it's like I want it yesterday express. It's just too long for me. You know what I mean? So, bear in mind your customers may be the same way. And so you want to really try to get it shipped out quick. Always use tracking numbers. Always, always, always. I don't ship to anybody overseas, Hawaii, or Canada. I'm done. I went through that years ago. Got burned lots of ways because there's no way to track it. And shipping to Europe, you want to ship one makeup blush, it's $35. And then you got to do 5 pages of customs papers and all. I have no interest in that anymore. I'm done. I used to do it. I am done. It's a really good biz right now, good side gig, and it's a good total gig once you get it built up. And you don't have to sell just one area. There's a lot of people putting out YouTube videos going, well, you need to specialize in this one thing, really learn it. Well, that's all well and good, but it's just like going to get a job. If they don't have a job available in what you like to do, then you're going to have to go somewhere else and try to find a job so you get revenue. You might have to learn something new. You might have to get a stupid job, that is easy for anybody. And just do that, just to have some revenue till you can get something that you'd really like to do. But bear in mind, learning something new every day is a good thing. I know a lot of stuff because I've worked a lot of different kinds of jobs. And one thing, because I like to learn everything. In my life, I hope there's not too much stuff that people can ask me that I don't know about. Because I spend my life learning. I love to learn new things. So I'm not going to tell you just to stay in one, what they call niche or niche, because I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. They say, oh, don't be the everything seller. Well, it depends. It depends. If you're making money doing it, then do it. The problem is you've got to get to a point where you're making $20, at least $20. I would say more like 30 and above profit on an item. So if you buy the item for $1 at the secondhand store and you have it marked to, like $25 and up, and to cover your eBay fees and all that junk, because they're going to tax you on the shipping and tax you on the sale price. Then it's profitable. And it doesn't make a difference if it's a paper clip or it's a hair curling iron or if it's a shirt. If it sells, it sells. You have to have something that people want. And even if you do like to specialize on certain things, say you sell Asian wigs, okay, um, and all of a sudden the business is slow. What are you gonna do? I guess you'll start have to look for something else for a minute to try to sell in the meantime. So you have to bend a little bit if you want to have constant revenue. You know, what if all of a sudden somebody gets on there and is selling Asian hair wigs for a nickel and free shipping? You know, I mean, they're like putting you out of business until people find out they're selling garbage. Um, but a million people will buy that. You know, everybody thinks there's a deal, but always remember, like my mother told me, if it's free or it's a deal, beware. You're going to pay one way or another. And, you know, I think that's really true most of my life. Yeah, that's right. So, get an account open. I've tried many different platforms. There's some that have done absolutely nothing for me. If you can get on eBay, it's great. eBay's designed for new and used. If you can get on Amazon, it's excellent. And mostly that is for new. Um, so Amazon is huge, 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 huge. Um, but that if you can get on both those platforms, you're in like Flynn. My baby sister turned me on to Amazon years ago. I didn't even know what the heck that was. And you know, I did so well on Amazon. I was running Amazon and eBay together. Then I was doing Amazon, eBay, and eBid. And so, you know, if you want to get started, better jump on the bandwagon because there's something to be sold by everybody. Um, and of course, if you've got a bunch of stuff that's just not selling, you can always run it out on Whatnot for a $2 starting bid. Um, and they're accepting people real easy now on Whatnot. And before it was like a big major deal. But you can get on there and you can run auctions 24 hours a day and, you know, just auction that stuff off. They're like 45-second auction type thing. I think the longest one is like a 2-minute one or something like that. But you don't have to worry because you'll sell it one way or another. And then you can also donate it back, and that's a tax write-off. You can take it to a local secondhand store, and they'll give you a receipt, and that's your tax write-off. So it's not a total loss. But I'll tell you, probably the easiest thing to start with, if you don't know anything about reselling and sales and stuff like that, is just buy Levi's. Levi's are selling like $20 a pair and up, new and used. And you know, I was looking because I couldn't understand why on earth are Levi's selling for $20 used. Because I mean, when I was a kid, you had to buy Levi's like at an army surplus store, and it's a dusty little tiny store, and they sold all kinds of camping stuff and military stuff, and then you know some boots, some brand you didn't even know, and you could get some pretty fancy little cowboy boots for like $30, and I'll never forget the first pair of jeans, Levi jeans, and cowboy boots I got to go camping out at Morongo Indian Reservation. And Serena took me and she's like, well, you gotta have jeans. And I'm like, well, okay. And I had money. And I mean, I was not a jean person. And anyway, basically, and so they had these folded up pants in the corner shelf, all dusty. And you know, had to go try them on. And the big trick was, you know, she said, you got to get them skin tight because they'll stretch out. And I'm like, huh? So you get these jeans, and they were like this real, like almost black, this indigo blue, really rich, almost black. They're real pretty with like yellow stitching on them and stuff. And you could get button up or zip up. And a lot of people like that button up. And I think that's a dude thing. I just, that's too much work. You know, back then I had the long nails and all that stuff, real glamorous. And it's pain in the back to button up a bunch of buttons instead of just zip a zipper. And so, uh, you know, I got a pair. And I think they were like, what, $14 for a pair of brand new Levi's? I mean, what are you going to do with them? Other than work on the farm or work on your car or something. So, bought those, and I got these real fancy cowboy boots, and they were like part leather or something. They might have been all leather, I don't know, but and they had a big sunburst on the front. Oh, they were so pretty, and so I thought I was in like Flynn, that I would be styling and profiling. And camping, there's nothing stylish about camping. You just need to have the appropriate stuff. Boots so the snakes don't bite you, and jeans because you're going to need it. Because you might sit on a rock, a tree, you might be riding a horse, and you're going to get dirty, you know. Yeah. And now, Southern people say, oh, I love jeans because they keep you warm. Well, I don't know about that. I hate them. Okay. They're like wearing steel. They are not a fun jean, a fun pant. Except for when I was growing up when they made them all fancy, where we had zip up the side and lace up the front and double lace up the side and you know, big bell bottomy jeans, and then they went peg leg with a zipper down at the bottom so you could wear them with heels, and then zip that ankle up and all that, and those were fun too. But I'm still a great fan of bell bottoms, always will be. I've worn them all my life. I love them. Even when people say, oh God, those aren't even the style, why are you wearing those bell bottoms? Because that's what I like. You know, I had bell bottom suits, and man, they're like freaking gone from the stolen storages. I had Dittos pants that were worth over $100 a pair today. And I wished I had it on my Dittos because I had them since I was a kid. And those fit really nice, those pants. But anyway, they're colored jeans, if you want to call it jeans. They were made really well, and I guess they've stopped making them. But anyway, so um, jeans are nothing. But you move to the South, they don't even like Levi's. They When I moved to Oklahoma, it was like you're not in style if you don't have some Wranglers or some Lees. And I'm trying to think that one of them was more favored than the other. That you were really high profile if you had only Lee jeans or something, or only Wranglers. I can't remember how it went. And so my friends, when I went to their house one day, my so-called friends, the Browns out in Salina, they had given me like a whole hefty bag full of jeans. So here you go. Here's clothes. And you know, I had come from California, and I had all the, you know, stylish, fashionable clothes and all this stuff, and all the heels and everything. And uh, there's a lot of dirt in Oklahoma back then. You know, not many sidewalks. Hey, how you guys doing? Good to see you on the chat there. And so I said, what is this? And it was really heavy. They said, you got you some pants. And I'm like, I have clothes. And so I looked in this bag, and it was like jeans. I went, oh God. And you know, I pull one out, and there's like no lace up the sides. Pull the next one out. Well, you know, that one doesn't have the double zipper thing. Pull that one out. It's not lattice or tie dyed, or, you know, and they're kind of bell bottomed. Um, I guess those are called riding jeans or something, the bell bottom ones. Um, so I said, what's this for? And well, so that you can dress and you stay warm in the winter and the snow and the ice. And I'm like, ew, I just won't come out of the house, you know. Thank you for the thumbs up, you guys. I appreciate it. So the big style in Oklahoma for a female, which was much like a male, was to wear jeans and, you know, like tennis shoes, little white pointy tennis shoes like they had like in the 50s or 60s or whatever. They're so gross. Uh, they were still wearing them when I went to Oklahoma. That's what the style was. I'm like, I'm not wearing that. I don't even know if my mother wore shoes like that when they were in. um, but because I don't recall her wearing anything like that. And I love shorts, jeans, sweatpants, anything comfortable. Yeah, and see, I hate jeans; they're not comfortable. The old ones were. They were great, but that brand new fresh pair of Levi's, you know, it's just not my thing. It's like steel. I hate them. And so uh, and then the little white pointy tennis shoes, the proper jeans, the Lee or the Wrangler, and then this what they call a Pendleton shirt. And they have lightweight ones and heavyweight ones, and they're this plaid thing. It looks like the blanket from your mother's couch. But when you're falling asleep watching TV, you just grab that blanket, throw it over you. That's what it looks like. And it's like, I am not wearing that. Yeah. And so that was this big style because it's a southern thing. That's what people wear. People work all kinds of jobs in the South, even in the office. I mean, I worked in a hotty toddy office for my aunt Roseanne at the Title and Abstract Company, and most of the people I worked with wore clothes like that. The little white pointy 50 style tennis shoes, those $1.99 ones. Huh. And then the Lear Wrangler jeans and a Pendleton long sleeve shirt. Yeah. And it was like gross. Um, where I come from in California, you're wearing dress suits with hose and heels and your hair done, and your nails done, and all that kind of stuff. Well, and that was office wear, but not in the South. And then most of the chicks drive trucks, and you go, man, that's one bad chick. She drives a truck. Who drives a truck that's a girl, right? I've known a lot of girls in my life that absolutely love a truck, and they're not hauling them or using them for anything. You know, they just like driving a truck. And it's like, why? Why would you like driving a truck? I swear, if you hit my car, somebody's grandma that's like lost in time here. The way people drive. Just fit it like you fit a slice of toast in the toaster, man. Just boom, you know what I mean? Just put it anywhere. But anyway, my gosh. But yeah, so I'm just not a big fan of jeans. Now, back in the day, when I was like in high school and stuff, and I used to go to Santa Monica Mall in California, they had started making these really cool jeans. They were rainbow tie-dye. They were zip up the side, lace up, the bell bottom, beautiful pants. They were lattice, window pane, just all kinds of stuff. And they could go for some pretty good money. But every store sold it. You know, the cheapo stores from all the way to JCPenney, Sears. Everybody's selling them. And it just was, if it was the one that you liked, I mean, the first time I saw window pane jeans, I fell in love with them. I said, these are so totally cool. Now, I sewed a lot, but I'm not going to sew together a bunch of squares of jean material to make fabric to cut a pattern for pants out. I'm not. So I would just soon buy it. And they were just the coolest thing that you ever saw. And then they had cutouts, where they would do cutouts down the side. They had all kinds of neat things they were doing with jeans. They had, these jeans that were way bleached out. They were almost white. And they were super soft. And those were really fun. They had rainbow jeans where they did, like, they would pour bleach down them and stuff, and then they would dye it like tie-dye colors, real bright colors. And so they were like rainbowy, and just kind of a freeform looking thing. And man, they were pretty too. Just fun clothes. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of jeans. Period. No. And recently, for my work that I was doing recently, it was required to wear jeans, and I'm like, oh, I don't even own jeans. I usually only own one pair, and it's for climbing into my car working on a transmission. I just don't wear jeans. And so, anyway, and now I'm going to sell them on eBay. I'm only going to keep about 3 because they're bell bottom me and the rest are not. Because it's just stuff that'll just sit around. Oh, you don't like? No, I hate them. They're like liquid steel. I absolutely hate them. Um, uh, I just don't like them. But yeah, I mean, I even had some friends give me some Jenkos and Bongos in Oklahoma. Some people that I worked with, and they said, "Here, you'll like these," because they were real popular. And back then, they were like $180 a pair. And they're like, "These will fit you." And I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks." And every time I wear them, people go, "Man, those are Jenkos. Man, those are Bongos." I'm like, "Okay, so is that good?" And like, "Dude, I can't believe you have some Jenkos." And then when you look them up, they're like really expensive. It's jeans. I had Britannia jeans that were almost $300 from my work. I got half off. I thought they were hilarious. I've had them all my life. They were stolen in those other storages that were stolen. And and people say, "Wow, nice jeans," and they fit terrible. They were from Europe, and they fit absolutely terrible. I hated them. And uh, and people would say, "Yeah, I like those." I said, "Yeah." I said, "They're almost $300 pair of jeans. Can you believe it?" Ha ha ha. And they're like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I got half off. I bought them at work as a joke because I just did. I would never buy anything in that Britannia store on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. I didn't like the clothes. You know, it was nothing but jeans, and it was set up like a public library. All the jeans were folded. They were on the walls, and you had to roll this giant ladder across the wall to go get the jeans in the size the person needed. And you had to go like way up in the ceiling and stuff, right there on the main floor. And but people were buying them all day long. Almost $300 pair of jeans, Britannia, just because it came from Europe, and they sucked. They just, you know, I thought they were hilarious. I'm like, who buys a $300 pair of jeans? They're lame. But there's a lot of jeans now, the Jankos and those others, that were real big, like in the '80s. Those are selling for big money right now. All the kids want them. They want to wear what their parents wore, you know. And then there's those that would wish to be the groovy flower child, you know, from like the '60s. Yeah. And then there's those that want to be like from the '30s, '40s, and '50s. It's hard to believe when you meet a young person that that's their thing. But then again, if you ask me, I would have loved to live in the old Renaissance periods and stuff, like the Gone with the Wind clothes with the bustle and the petticoats and the corsets and the beautiful gowns and big, floppy hats with the plumes hanging off of them and the really cool little booty shoes and all that. I would love to have done that. I think that's just really super neat clothes. Functional in that day and age? Probably not. But they sure were beautiful. Very nicely done stuff. And I would have loved to have worn stuff like that. Um, but but yeah. But yeah, you want to start on eBay? I'm gonna tell you the easiest way out. And you don't know anything about clothes, you don't know what to sell, you don't know what to do. Guess what? Levi's, I looked online and I could not believe what they retail for today. There are Levi's going for $70, $80, almost $100, depending on where you buy them. But all the high-end retail stores are selling them for almost $100 for Levi's. Levi jeans, do you believe that? Levi's, some junk you find at the surplus store that's supposed to last a really long time because it has like brass things on the corners so it never rip apart and has that heavy duty yellow stitching, and all that kind of stuff, and the zipper, heavy duty, metal zipper and stuff. Dude, that's your easiest way out. You want to be a reseller. You don't know nothing about nothing. Start there. Go get used Levi's. There was a place in Geneva County, Alabama that I heard about. You could go and you could fill a hefty bag for like $2 or $3 of used clothes and buy as many as you want. Okay? People used to tell me all the time, "Oh, you can go fill hefty bag." You just paid this. And I'm like, dude, I never got a chance to go there. Um, and uh, get yourself some used jeans, Levi's. Go for Levi's because that's what's alarming. That's what's selling, and sell them for $20 and up per pair, used, and you're gonna have revenue. That's right. A lot of the big sizes are very easy to sell nowadays, um, for men or women. When you start getting at 13, 14, 15s and all that, 16s and all that, those do sell. So, don't be afraid, that you want to try and buy all perfect size 7. That was supposed to be the women's perfect size. Um, it's not that. Just buy Levi's. Petites sell too. They take a little bit longer. All those like double aught sizes and all that. They do take a little bit longer to sell, but buy them too. Levi's, used and new, beat the crap. Doesn't make a difference because there's people like thrash clothes. I love Levi's. There's a lot of people that really do. They're very well made pants. Um, but and they last for 100 years. They really literally do. You know what 100-year pair of Levi's is worth today? 100-year pair of Levi's that are used is about 100K. That's right, $100,000 for a used pair of Levi's, 100 years old. Trust me, there's a lot of older people that have died. You catch that at an estate sale in a secondhand store. The family donates it. I talked to a friend of mine. His dad died last year, and he has a bunch of train collections that stay in the boxes that his dad has collected. They have so much stuff they're buying storage after storage to put it in. Him and his brother, they're still unloading the stuff out of the house a year later. Yeah, and they don't know what to do with it. Those old collector trends, HOs, and a lot of them are in the boxes, never been used. And he just opens one and goes, oh my gosh. I mean, that's a kid's dream, you know what I mean? They're expensive though today. And they were expensive then too. But that's a very expensive habit to get into. Um, but yeah, I said, you got any of those clothes left? And he said, oh no, my mom donated it all. And he said, I wish we'd known you. I said, yeah, I took them. You would be amazed. I just sold a pair of used men's shoes, all leather, and a really old maker. And they were wore out to death. They were beat to death. Oh my gosh. Some of the color was wore off them. I wasn't going to do a bunch of stuff to them because it takes away from my money if I have to restore them and they're not anything that I think is worth selling to restore. Now, I did buy a pair of shoes at flea market in Panama one year, and when I was with my ex-husband, and he's like, what are you buying those for? I said, I'm going to sell on eBay. And he's like, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. And they were a very nice brand of men's dress shoe, and they looked pretty good. They had a leather sole, stacked heel, leather upper, and all that. Real nice shoe. And I took them to a shoemaker friend of mine, and I said, can you clean these up, condition them, and just polish them up for me, please? And if they need a little sole work, just do that. So he did the heels on them and cleaned them up, buffed them out, re-dyed them, the whole thing. And now these were some shoes that were sitting like in a storage or a garage for years, musty, dusty, the whole thing. So I paid him $16 to do those shoes. I listed them on eBay on auction, and they went for $60. And I said, wow, I sold those shoes and I bought at flea market and had restored. And my husband's like, what? I said, yeah, they bought them for $60. He said, for those shoes? I said, yeah, but they look brand new. And the dude got done with them at the shoemaker shop. And he's like, you did not. I'm like, well, yeah. And so, because I knew leather real well, so I didn't have time to fool with it. And shoemakers are really good. And if you can get them reasonable, take that crap down there, let them redo it. It's like, will you clean these up a little bit, and pay them to do it. Because they got all the stuff there and they know that stuff real well. And they have the time to do it. And that's a banging deal. Otherwise, I don't like to buy used shoes as a rule because it's too much work. unless it's huge money. Like those boots that I bought recently that I only paid like $1.50 for at the bins in Panama. And those retail used at $700 to $900. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even had time to list them yet. Um, yeah. So, you want to be an eBay reseller? Make that account. Start with Levi's. That's your best guarantee of all. Just buy Levi's. Now, some other jeans sell good too, but you know, until you learn the brands and what they're selling for and all that kind of stuff, what the market is, which changes monthly. You know, this month could be Janko month, and next month could be Bongo month, next month, be this, but it's always going to be a Levi market. Men and women's. Don't buy kids. Kids sell so bad on eBay. Jewelry and kids stuff and stripper clothes do not sell well on eBay. Um, but but jeans, men's and women's, adults, just grab up those Levi's, wash them so they smell good. Do your measurements on your ad, list them. Start at $20 and up. $20 and up on used Levi's. And then come back here and let me know how you do, because I promise you it's a good start. And then if you see other stuff you want to try to invest in, you can research that, on eBay and on Google and see what they're selling for and go from there. But, Levi's are going to sell. They're going to sell no matter what. So do check it out. I was very surprised because I'm like, why do these Levi's sell for $20 and up? I can't imagine. Because like I say, the one pair that I bought when I was a kid with my cool sunburst cowboy boots at the dusty old nasty surplus store, dark, dusty, and damp looking thing down by Marina Del Rey in Culver City. That place is probably still there, the Army surplus store. Those were like $14 just for the pants, and then the boots were more expensive. They were like $30. So, that's where I figured jeans belonged, because who wears jeans? But you know what? There's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that swear by them. There's a lot of people that only wear jeans and nothing else. And they will take them thrashed, stashed, dyed, marks on them. All that's in style. The newest thing is paint. People like jeans with paint on them, paint splatter jeans. They're selling for like $300. And it looks like house paint on them. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding you. I've even contemplated maybe making some paint splatter jeans, It's just, I just don't know. But yeah, so don't worry. Somebody's going to buy that, even if they're ripped and thrashed and all that. You just put on there thrashed. And there's people that's their style. They like it with the knees ripped out. They like to look like they're poor, living on the street, kind of look. Sometimes I see this stuff in the retail stores, and it's like, this stuff's so dirty and so ripped up. Yeah, paint splatter jeans. I'm like, who's paying for stuff that looks like this? It's dirty, nasty. I want to wash it 100 times to get the dirt stains out. You know what I mean? And that ripped up and thrashed and trashy hems and not hemmed, and that's just weird. To me, that's just weird. You look like a bum. But that's a thing, People like that today. You never believe some of the people you look at, and the guy comes walking out and gets into a Lambo, and he's got jeans, 2-penny jeans. They're all ripped up and tore up and stains on them. And he's not a farmer either, And then he's wearing $100 Joss Banks shirt with it, It's like, oh my gosh. And $300 tennis shoes. Yeah. And we're not just talking about the black dude. We're talking about all dudes. Every race. It is a thing. It could be an Oriental guy. It could be a white guy. It could be, Asian guy. It could be Italian guy. It's a thing with everybody. There's a lot of people that like that look. I think it's horrible. When I was a kid, if you got one rip in your clothes, you were a bum. And you better figure out how to fix it so nobody can see that. Otherwise, you have to throw the pants away. They're garbage. Yeah. Today, it's a thing. It's okay. And they probably don't sell much fabric patches anymore in the sewing departments because people don't need them. They don't want them. I watched a girl sit at a bar in one of the clubs I was working in, and she had a comb and her keys, and she was doing this stuff to her jeans. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "I just want to put some more decoration on them." And I said, "Oh, I thought there was something wrong." And she's like, "Oh, no, no. Yeah, it's really in style. It sure is." And I said, "Well, what are you doing?" I was kind of entertained by it because she was sitting there drinking, and I thought she's drunk and just doing dumb stuff. She was sitting there while talking to people, having a great time, and she was dragging her keys across the pants that she had on. And then she had a comb, and she was combing down on those jeans to pull the strings out so they were hanging out. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I'm like, "What on earth are you doing?" You know, and she's like, "I like them like that." And then the girl next to her goes, "They have more character that way. They're more personalized." I said, "Personalized for what? You look like you're poor. Can I buy you some pants?" I just would walk up to these people. "Can I buy you some pants, please?" Um, but it's a thing. It's a style. It's a thing. It's their style. Style is your own. It's what you make it. It's what you like. Don't anybody say, "Oh, that's not his style," because it's what you like. That is fashion. It's what you like. So if you buy those Levi's and one side doesn't have a hem, or it's all thrashed out on the bottom, or that got big knee holes in them, or they got paint stains or marker stains or mechanic stains, as long as you wash them, they're ready for sale. Even with the stains in them, even with the paint in them, even with the rips, the tears, the strings hanging off, it doesn't make a difference. With a happy face drawn on it with a marker, it doesn't make a difference. People like that. And then if you have perfect, nice, clean jeans, people like that too. So start there. Start your sales at 20 and up, and then include shipping. Don't do free shipping for your life. Do not do that. That's a really dumb move. Um, uh, and uh, go from there. I promise you, it's a win. And we're in it to win it. Okay. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you had fun. And thank you for your comments and all your thumbs up. I love you so much. Try it. You'll like it. I'll see you in the next one.